the truth? Are we being told the truth? Do you like politics? Well, welcome to the Political Show, only on Active FM.
Hey, it is your girl Cynthia, but you know you can call me Gigs, and you're listening to the Politics Show right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better. And with me in studio, we've got...
Gavin Enslin.
Yes, we've got Pastor Gavin Enslin, and this is the Politics Show where Christian politics is...
Hot politics.
Hot politics, yes, that is exactly. We're here to give you...
Now, Christian politics is lockdown politics.
Christian politics is lockdown, exactly. So we have two slogans.
The politics of lockdown.
The politics of lockdown. Maybe we should change our name. I don't know.
No,
I'm
because
just joking.
we're not believing to be locked down
yes,
forever.
We're not. Okay, so you can catch our awesome shows on our different platforms. We are on www.activefm.co.za. You can catch us on Google and Apple Podcasts, and you can also catch us on Spotify. So get downloading, get sharing the shows, and if you want to get social, and let us know what your thoughts are on specific topics in the show, or just because you just want to be on social media. You can catch us on our social media platforms on Instagram at ActiveFM777. You can also catch us on Facebook /ActiveFM. We're also on Twitter at ActiveFM, and we're also on TikTok. So you can join us in our TikTok challenges or watch some very funny ActiveFM TikTok challenges as well. So Pastor Gavin, do you want to introduce today's topic?
I've forgotten it.
We are speaking about lawsuits against China and potential conflict
with the US.
Yes.
Sorry, I knew what we're talking about, but I forgot the title.
Sure.
Yes. Obviously, we've discussed, from March.
Yeah.
Before that, we were discussing the State of the Nation address and all the chaos that was going on in South Africa, and then mid-March, obviously everything changed within a week or two to this coronavirus, and we've been talking about the problems relating to China and the World Health Organization since then.
Yeah.
And so looking at that, I think we've mentioned it before about people wanting to sue China. Some governments, even private individuals, and I think last time we might have spoken about, where oaks are coming with wanting to sue China for billions and even trillions of dollars and things like that. So, there's that aspect. And then there's also the aspect that if you were to keep an eye on the Asian press, doesn't seem to be in the Western press. And, the Western press, bunch of idiots, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because there's serious tensions going on now between America and China.
Yeah. And
they're not talking about it. And imagine now if America and China go to war. That's not going to be a small issue, is it?
It wouldn't, no.
Hey?
No.
That's like saying, if the husband hasn't been home for 3 days, he comes home, it's not going to be a big issue. There's not going to be any rolling pins or frying pans or something like that flying at his head.
No, I think a TV even.
And maybe TV, maybe even a couch, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So then you don't report on it. That husband hasn't been home for 2 days. They expect him home tomorrow, but, we better send some cops there because there's probably going to be issues. He might not come out of that alive, But then we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that obviously is concerning, and so a lot of people are living in a fool's paradise, I think. Imagine now if a nuclear missile goes from China towards America. Like, it's not going to affect us, eh?
It would. No,
I'm being sarcastic.
Sure. The world would see that. If you go from China all the way to...
you see a mushroom cloud where New York was. Imagine.
Sure. And so that is basically what we're talking about. Lawsuits against China. One of the first countries, actually, that was angry with China was India. Yes. If I'm not mistaken. India was one of the very first countries that were like, listen here.
They're still pretty upset.
Yeah, they still are and stuff. So that is what we're going to be speaking about
They're
today.
also nuclear power, eh?
Yeah.
And now Russia's upset with China.
Yep.
You know why?
Because their numbers have also exploded?
No, their numbers have exploded, but the Chinese officials are telling their people that the people that came back from Russia to China have brought infections back to China. So they're blaming the Russians for their new infections.
Sure.
So the Russian embassy in China has issued a very strong statement.
Yeah.
You know, saying that they're unhappy with what the Chinese are saying.
Yep, China is going to be in the naughty corner for a very, very long time, I'm telling
Yes,
you.
they need a hiding place.
Yeah, so that is what we're going to be speaking about today. It's going to be quite an interesting show, as always. So remember that you can catch us on www.activefm.co.za, and this is the politics show where Christian politics is
Lockdown politics.
Lockdown politics.
The one radio you tune in on your way home. This is the one.
Now on air. It's the award-winning radio program.
This is the one for fun and entertainment. The one.
Are you ready?
The one you listen to all day. This is the one.
Now, like we spoke on earlier in the year, so I think last month or something, we spoke about countries that are quite upset with China. And Missouri's a state in America, has charged China 7 federal lawsuits, basically. Yes. Then if you go through the lawsuits, I went through, it's actually available online and stuff. They basically speak about the fact that China knew about the virus, but they acted slowly. So in terms of letting the world know and all of these things, that they acted slowly, that they put their head in the sand and covered up what was happening. They deceived the public, suppressed information, arrested whistleblowers. They denied human-to-human transmission and gave the World Health Organization. I'm quite skeptical about this, but they say that they gave the World Health Organization misleading information as a cover-up of what was really happening, and then they destroyed critical medical research. So what are your thoughts on that?
First of all, about the World Health Organization. On the 14th of January, they put out a tweet saying that they've just spoken to Chinese officials and that there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission.
Yeah.
We might have mentioned it on this show last week, but the latest, the 31st of December, Taiwan had already sent a document to the World Health Organization saying that they have conclusive evidence that this thing is transmissible from human to human.
Yeah.
That it's very infectious. So first of all, in terms of World Health Organization, that one there, you know, if I was the Chinese lawyer, I'd be able to dispute that one.
Yeah.
You know, because the World Health Organization covered up with China.
Yeah.
So there's an international cover-up going on here. It's not just China. But, you know, for the rest, there's even stories that have come out that the Wuhan and the Hubei province that Wuhan is in, actually, they locked that state down. They'd stopped people traveling to other places in China.
Yeah.
But at the same time, planes were taking off at the Wuhan International Airport and flying to America and Australia and all over the world.
Yeah.
So they locked the state down to stop the spread to other parts of China, but then they're shipping planes out overseas. So, you know, basically, obviously, we've also discussed the documents that have come out and statements made that it's a bioweapon. I'm convinced it's a bioweapon just from all the things that I've heard.
Yeah.
And more doctors are coming out and saying that. I mean, obviously, the official narrative is it came from the wet markets and bats and monkeys and whatever rubbish they're talking, you understand? But more doctors and more virologists are actually coming out and breaking ranks with the standard story.
Yeah.
And I say, no, this is what they call a chimera virus, which means it's been interfered with.
Yeah.
And they've actually injected other DNA stuff and things like that.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing, though. Whether it's a bioweapon or not, what China did is an act of war.
It is, yes.
And, you know, there's just no getting away from that. How they can come out and tell everyone on the 14th, because China, it wasn't only the World Health Organization, China came out on the 14th of January saying that there's no evidence of human-to-human transmission.
Yeah.
And on the same day, the top Chinese leaders, it was the president and the vice president and a couple of other, but the top leadership were involved in a conference call with guys from Wuhan, local medical guys and people like that, where they discussed how infectious this thing is. Then they come out with this message for 6 days, Cynthia. For 6 days, they lied. And then suddenly, bam, on the 20th of January, they shut down the whole province. They bring the city under lockdown. All of a sudden, you're driving to Wuhan, you get there to a roadblock, you can't get through, the cops aren't letting you through. The cops aren't letting the people in there out. You know, all of that sort of stuff. So all of a sudden, that happens. And what they were talking about was in those 6 days, and this is why there's even evidence that the Chinese actually allowed this thing intentionally to spread within China. Because they were encouraging people in that 6-day period to come to mass large gatherings to celebrate the Lunar New Year in China.
Yeah.
So, you know, what these guys have done, I don't know. I'm having a short circuit in my brain to try and explain this. Just about how bad and how evil this is.
It is.
It's actually really fascinating to watch just how much we cannot trust our media.
Yeah.
Because they're not talking about this.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, for something this serious, our entire country, half the world's population are under lockdown. The part of the United Nations that gets food to the poorest of the poor in places where the governments have no money. They're talking now, and this week, they're talking about the fact that at least a minimum of 30 million people are going to starve
That is a lot.
because of this pandemic.
Sure.
So that means a hell of a lot of people are going to have to die of this virus to
Yeah.
match the amount of people that are going to die of starvation.
Yeah.
And yet that's something else no one's talking about. Now,
Yeah.
when you have all those mass deaths because of starvation, now what do the Chinese say about this? And I'm sorry, look, you know, there's a time when you can say, look, you can't blame people for a viral outbreak. So in America, there was a poll that I saw that says that Donald Trump reacted too slow. And so many, the virus spread and all of this nonsense. And I'm saying you had this virus coming into America from the East Coast via New York, from Europe, the West Coast from China direct.
Yeah.
And when a virus is coming to a country from all over, right, how can you come and nail that president?
Yeah.
When the Chinese government did what they did.
Yeah.
And Trump would say everything's fine, he's spoken to President Xi. And President Xi was lying to him from China.
Yeah.
So, how can you say it's Trump's fault and not look at China,
Yeah.
in something like this? And if you listen to the press in places like India and Taiwan and even some of the guys in Hong Kong, although a lot of them got arrested.
Yes, yes.
Okay, a lot of the Hong Kong guys got arrested.
They did.
The Chinese government, is messed up so bad that it's actually hard to believe that it happened by accident.
I mean, there's so much cover up. I mean, for the fact that they destroyed medical research.
Yeah.
And when you read through the lawsuit and
Yeah,
stuff,
what you're talking about there is they actually went and destroyed the evidence
Yes.
of patient zero.
they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a wet market. No, the evidence blew up.
I mean,
The
it doesn't
doctors all
make
died.
sense. Yeah, I know the one
COVID-19,
doctor, Dr. Lee, Chinese. When pneumonia cases started in the hospital that he worked at and stuff, he actually started warning his colleagues, and they actually censored his messages and told him to apologize to the public for what he was doing and stuff. And then he was one of the few people, not few people, but one of the people who actually died on the 7th of January because of the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff.
they say it died because of the virus.
Yeah, but we don't really.
We don't know. He might have died.
Know. Yeah, he might have died because of the
We know
virus,
that
but-
they said he died of the virus.
Yeah, and then I know that there are missing doctors as well.
Yeah, the others disappeared.
Yeah, they just disappeared out of. So there's a lot of cover up that has been happening in terms of the whole.
Yeah, but can I tell you something
thing.
else?
Yeah.
So, when the medical guys in China are putting out information about the virus,
Yeah.
do you know that it first has to be approved by the government
Yep.
before it can go out?
So even that, there's a lot of things.
Imagine
that
if
they're
Donald
probably-
Trump said, before anyone says anything about this virus, it has to be approved by me. Imagine what they would say.
They would tell him I know.
He's not a doctor.
Yeah, he's not. They
Yes.
would, yeah, the media would nail him and stuff. Yeah,
So the cover-up's hectic.
it is. Things don't make sense, and numbers go from this amount to now it's all of a sudden that amount, and the stats that they're giving out doesn't match what is actually being
Yeah, did you see they increased their death toll by 50% suddenly over the weekend?
So
from 3,000 something to basically it was a 50% increase.
Yeah. So it's quite a lot of cover-up.
I think suddenly their death toll increased by about 1,600. Bam.
So it's also, that is actually also mentioned in the lawsuit that their stats are not matching what.
No.
Yeah, so it's quite hectic. It's quite serious. Remember, you can catch us on our Instagram page at ActiveFM777.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, are you
You can stream Reactive's very own The Movement album on Spotify and Apple iTunes. Reactive is a movement.
Okay, welcome back to the Politics Show with me, Gavin.
And me, Cynthia, but you can call me Gex.
Politics has never been
better. Yes.
And grass politics is
hot politics
with a flavor, with a touch of lockdown.
With a touch of lockdown. I used to get you all the time with this. Now you're getting me. Yeah.
Yes, I'm getting you back because I'm starting the segment.
Yes.
It's awesome. So, obviously, here in South Africa, we've got a situation where our government is getting these advisors coming from China, telling us how to approach the lockdown and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And if I just look at some of the news emanating out of China right now, there's another city, it starts with a H. Shucks, I can't remember the name, HA something. It's on the western side of China towards the border with Russia.
Yeah.
And they just locked down. It's also a city similar to one of about 11 million people. So similar to a city like New York. They just locked this down as well.
Sure.
Those are the reports coming out of China.
Yeah.
That they've locked that city, down now. And I think it was in that same city where the schools went back 2 weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're shutting the schools again. All right, so looking at all of these things now, we're getting these guys to come in and advise us, and what are they teaching us? Okay, lie about your stats, or I'm not sure what they're teaching. And if you look at a document that came out, and I'm not sure if it's from the government, hopefully it's fake. I'm hoping it's fake, but they've got different stages of lockdown, and one of them is they can come into your house and test you. And then if one of your family members tests positive, they look you out of your house and will take you somewhere. Like we actually saw videos like that coming out of China.
Yeah.
Well, they say to a hospital or something, quarantine hospital or something like that. So I'm not sure if I'm all that comfortable with our government getting advice. But Cynthia, I was actually wondering, in your discussions with people, would I be out there? I'm some radical fringe, whatever, in being skeptical of China. What are the people you're thinking?
I mean, for the fact that China has so much cover up that's happening and they're not telling the truth, a lot of people are not happy with the fact that our government is dependent on China in terms of helping us with the whole thing. I mean, one of the things is that China has been holding back on personal protective equipment and stuff, and we getting, we dependent on them and stuff. I know that the nurses are also wanting to strike or demonstrate because they don't have enough personal protection, equipment and stuff. And also the government is telling us not to wear gloves or masks and stuff because those are the things that actually transmit the disease. If you go into shops like Clicks and Dis-Chem, they actually just encourage you not to wear the gloves and the masks, and these are supposed to be our chemists and things like that. So a lot of people are not happy with the fact that we're dependent on China and stuff.
All right. And so importing Chinese doctors and Cuban doctors, how are people feeling about that?
I don't think, no, they're not too happy with importing Chinese doctors. If mostly with the tests, a lot of them haven't been accurate. So if the main focus or the main dependency is on the tests from the Chinese doctors who haven't been transparent with everyone, then so people are basically not happy with the fact that the government is getting help from the Chinese government.
Yes, and so what I'm just thinking about that is, you know, South Africa is supposed to be a democracy. That's what we're told all the time.
Yep.
And, you know, I'm pretty sure if you did a poll, you'd find that the majority of people are extremely unhappy with the level of cooperation between the South African and the Chinese government.
Yes.
So surely that should be something that's being factored in when they're making policy, because they're supposed to be serving the people.
Yeah.
And I think people are tired of being lied to. So in January, February, we're told, don't worry about the Chinese, it's racist and you know, all of these sorts of things. And the government officials are going out into places where, you know, and saying we don't have that many Chinese here. Meantime, there are tons of students at our universities, and they went home for Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
They came back here from Wuhan, the very center of the outbreak.
I mean, there was one news thing where they were saying that not that many Chinese people are coming into South Africa, and the video, they were in an airport, and the video of that specific thing, all you saw were Chinese people. So, it's quite interesting.
For me, you know, I see people, the only politician I see the press wanting to blame, the mainstream press around the world, is Donald Trump.
Yeah, he's one of the only ones that are actually attacking China and saying that.
Yeah. Now, even in February, March, I mean, he was saying that, you know, look at the flu and it's killed less than the flu, you know. So I think Donald Trump made a huge mistake with it.
Yeah,
when he did that. You know, he made less of a mistake than our guys.
Yeah.
He started shutting flights down from China at the end of January.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't shut flights down until March. In fact, it's only when Donald Trump stopped flights from Europe that our government took action and started implementing social distancing, and then actually put in place a travel ban from the US, Europe and China and places like that. Yeah, so it's a pretty big question that needs to be asked.
Yeah.
About the origins and about who's responsible, where governments went wrong.
Yeah.
Specifically, China, the World Health Organization. You know, I mean, our tax money is going to the World Health Organization.
Yes.
And now they've been presented in our country as the be-all and end-all. I'm sorry, I cannot put that into some sort of sequence that makes sense to me. When the World Health Organization tweeted on the 14th of January, there is no evidence of human-to-human transmission. Right? Meantime, by the 14th of January, I heard guys talking about the fact that there was, 6 feet. And it went to 9 feet. And now I'm hearing 21 and even 27 feet away that, you know, someone sneezes, you can catch this virus. 27 feet. Now, I think that's something like 9 or 11 meters.
Exactly. And so then you tell us not to wear masks and stuff.
The other thing is, if you're sick and you don't know it, okay, you don't know that you got this virus. If you're wearing a mask, you know you're protecting everyone around you.
Yes.
You massively reduce the risk of other people getting infected. Especially, you know, that they're saying now that they're estimating, and in fact I did see this in our press, that something like between 25 and 50% of the people that have COVID-19 don't know that they've got it, and they become what they call super spreaders.
Sure.
Now, I'd seen this long time ago, and it only seems to be coming out now in the last 7 days. So that's it. I mean, if I look at the World Health Organization, all of these guys, that also doesn't make sense. How come I read about this in Jan? I'm not even a doctor. And yet now it's in the mainstream press. Like 2 months later. So, or even 3 months later.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you've got it and you sneeze, it goes straight into your mask.
Yes.
Very little of it gets out. If you're breathing, you know, very little of it gets out. If you cough, and you know, even if you speak, whatever's goes like at least a meter.
Sure.
And then they say if you cough 2 meters, but it's actually a lot further than that. So no, there's a lot of problems here. So in your view, Cynthia, I'm not sure what you've heard. So obviously the government still has the goodwill of the people.
Yeah.
From a perspective of the lockdown.
Yeah.
So what are you picking up, you know, from people in general?
In terms of the
China and in terms of the lockdown?
Obviously, with the whole China thing, people are not happy with that. And in terms of the lockdown, from the community that I am in, it's not the upper level community. A lot of people Their main concern is, how will we pay rent? How will we feed our family? Because a lot of the people have to work in order to feed their families and things like, yes, there are those that have SASSA grants and all of those things, but then some of them are, for instance, people who sell fruits or vegetables on the side of the road and things, and that's where they get their income from and stuff. So their main concern is, if this lockdown continues, how are we going to survive in terms of getting food and all of these things and paying rent and stuff?
So just the last question then, what do you think will happen if, say, 3 weeks, a lot of people like these vendors and people like that can't work in 3 weeks from now?
Well, one of two things would happen. They would just go back to work. They would rather live with the virus and
then the cops come and stop them?
And then the second thing that could happen was protests and stuff, literally protests everywhere. I think that would also now spread the virus even more, because everyone is now together protesting against the government, and it would just bring chaos to the country. And that is it for this segment as well. It's been quite interesting. Please let us know what your thoughts are. We would really love to hear what your thoughts are. Remember, you can catch us on Instagram at ActiveFM777. We're also on Twitter at ActiveFM. Yep.
Hey, this is Naomi from Reactive, where music isn't just a band, isn't just a single person, but it's a movement, it's a lifestyle. You're listening to Active FM. Radio has never been better.
One of the things that this virus is teaching us is that, and I think many people have realized this around the world, that we can't trust our governments the way people trust their governments.
Yeah.
You know, in democracies, people cheer when their candidate wins and all of this kind of stuff. But what we're finding, first of all, is that obviously the government can only do so much, and that's been abundantly clear with this virus.
Yeah.
But the second thing is, many of the leaders around the world are power-hungry liars, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of distrust, I think, that has been built by this. But you know, there's the government of God.
Yeah.
And if we apply the blood of Jesus, then Psalm 118 verse 17 says, we shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord, or the deeds of the Lord.
Amen.
And so if we put our faith in the Lord, then He will protect us, He will guide us. We can apply the blood of Jesus and we will see victory over this virus. One of the things that we've been talking about in our church, you know, from the start of this thing, is that we need to be praying that, like in the movie The War of the Worlds, when the aliens come and they're invading Earth, and just when it looks like all is lost, you know, the aliens all died because of a virus, we have to pray and believe that the blood of Jesus is going to be like the virus that is going to kill this virus. You understand?
Amen.
That like those aliens came and it looked like the world's going to end, this virus is going to come and it looks like the world's going to end. And you know, I was listening yesterday to some of the officials, you know, the cabinet minister in charge of the defense, would be in the army, and what they were talking about was that part of the job, you know, they're taking virtually all the armed forces, and part of their job is to build temporary mortuaries.
Sure.
Because they expect that many people to die. You know, I also saw statistics last week that they're expecting that in Gauteng, the province that Johannesburg is in alone, there are going to be 1.5 million people infected between, you know, by the time you reach somewhere between the end of August and the end of September.
Sure.
1.5 million infections. So if you look at some of the stats, and some of the doctors are talking about a 4% mortality rate, so obviously you got to take what we said earlier, you know, in context with this, because the doctors that we're in contact with are talking about that it seems to be about a 4%, maybe just under a 4% mortality rate. So if 1.5 million people get affected, and let's say 4% of those die, you know, that's quite a lot of people. 1% I think would be
150.
No, I think 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah. So 4%, you know, you're talking about what, 60,000.
60,000.
That's just in Gauteng.
Sure.
In 4 months. From one sickness. You know, that's quite a lot. So we have to trust God and trust in the blood of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? And if we put our faith in God, I believe might be carnage all around us, but we shall not die.
Yeah.
And we shall live to declare the works of the Lord. And the Lord will supernaturally provide for us, and we will not be, amen, one of those 30 million people that are going to starve. Amen?
Amen. Yeah. That's it. That is it for the show. It has
you have
been
faith?
really. I do.
Don't
I
avoid
really,
the thing now and just talk about Instagram and stuff.
I really
We
do.
still got 1 minute 30. We want to hear about your faith now, Cynthia.
I do. I mean, for me personally, with my family, I've seen God's faithfulness in terms of looking after us and all of these things. We see the news and things, but there is no fear, if I could put it that way. We're not get, what if we get it? And I've had people in the house who are feeling a bit sick and stuff, but we know that it's not the coronavirus because it is the flu season. But we are taking precautions, like taking our vitamins, and we have colloidal silver, we have moringa at home, but we're not fearful. We know that we under God's kingdom, we kingdom citizens, and God is going to look after us. Amen. Basically. Yeah, so we're seeking first the kingdom, and we can proclaim that we will not die, but live
and
to
if
proclaim.
we get sick,
if we get sick,
by His stripes we are healed.
Yeah, applying the blood. Sure, you put me
on the spot.
Yeah, we obviously
You've done it often enough. I'm getting you back to that.
every morning we apply the blood over our household, and we do take communion and stuff as a family. So we know that we are protected by the blood, and yeah. So we do have the faith.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You can tell us about social media now.
Yeah, it's been a show where I've been put on the spot. It's not
so
fun.
Now you know how it feels.
It's not fun at all. But remember, we would really, really love to hear what your thoughts are. So you can catch us on our different platforms, www.activefm.co.za. You can catch us on Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. You can also catch us on Spotify. So get downloading, get sharing, and on our social media pages, we're on Instagram at ActiveFM777. We're on Facebook /ActiveFM, and we're on Twitter at ActiveFM. And remember, every day at 3 o'clock GMT +2. Right. Yes, GMT +2 South African time. You can catch the Situation Room with Pastor Gavin, where he talks about this current situation in terms of the COVID-19 virus. So that's on YouTube on Active TV. So subscribe onto Active TV, click the bell thing.
In yesterday's one, I actually discussed, that was Thursday, the 23rd. I actually discussed the whole thing with some people saying it's a hoax.
Sure, yeah.
Other people, but I'm not so sure it's a hoax.
Nope.
There's too many people. To me, there's too many people seem to be dying.
Yeah.
But they can get that. Go listen. Go watch.
So go watch.
It's also on Active FM, the Situation Room.
Yes. Yeah. We're getting nods from people, so
from the production team.
Yes, so you can catch on Active FM as well, same platforms. So listen to the Situation Room or go watch the Situation Room on Active TV, and don't forget to subscribe onto Active TV so you never miss the next show and stuff. Like I said, I'm your girl Cynthia, but you can call me Gigs, and
Gavin Enslin.
With Pastor Gavin Enslin. This is the politics show where Christian politics is hot politics and Christian politics is
lockdown politics.
Lockdown politics. Right here on Active FM, where radio has never been better.
The wait is over. Hold on tight. We are in the overdrive. Welcome. This is your favorite station. Stay tuned. Turn up the volume.
3, 2, 1.